AI is quite a hot topic at the minute, and there are several new opportunities coming out for the use of AI. Do you think there are any opportunities for AI in market access?
Yeah, so obviously AI has had quite a boom this year and in many areas, including medical, commercial, med affairs. It has been a little bit slower to start in the market access space, but I think there's a lot of opportunities, particularly in areas like clinical trial development, economic modeling, and evidence generation. So at Amiculum, we're actually looking at evidence generation in particular because it's sort of full of quite a lot of tasks that can be automated and where AI could really assist. The specific area we're looking at is literature reviews, so that could be anything from systematic reviews to targeted reviews, anything in between, looking at how AI can assist there. But a lot of the tasks are repetitive tasks, so AI could really shine there. So obviously, literature reviews, particularly systematic reviews, have been around for a long time. Cornerstone of a lot of our market access deliverables. So people might be asking themselves, why now? Why are we talking about lit reviews now versus when AI first came out?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the AI models now they're more freely available, firstly, and they're also now producing a lot of results that are more reliable and more consistent. And this means that it's now an opportunity to try and use this to test things like systematic literature reviews. And also with the upcoming joint clinical assessment in Europe, this is going to increase the burden of literature reviews quite a lot. And so this is going to produce a huge amount of work for pharmaceutical companies and European member states. So I think with AI being involved in systematic literature reviews, this could hopefully reduce the amount of work burden when the joint clinical assessment is launched this year.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you talk about the joint clinical assessment. So we've definitely heard from our clients that there's a lot of concern around the timeline and the fact that there might be several literature reviews that are being developed versus one, which you would usually do.
Mm-hmm.
So are there any particular areas of a systematic review where AI could really be helpful?
Yeah, I think so. So for a systematic review, the areas where we think AI could be really useful could be, for example, during PICO inclusion-exclusion criteria, developing the PICO criteria that we screen against, the search strategy development, also screening abstracts and full text, and also doing data extraction. We feel like these areas could really be helped using AI.
I want to talk a little bit more about these four areas. Obviously, some of them are very resource intense, certainly screening and data extraction. So it'd be interesting to know if there's any time saving that we saw there. But maybe we can start with the beginning of a literature review. So the PICO criteria, the search strategy. Could you talk a little bit about what you found there?
Yeah, so with the PICO criteria and the search strategy, we found that although AI, and in particular we were using ChatGPT to look at this, we found it produced the PICO criteria and the search strategy very quick compared to how the amount of time it would take a human to develop these two different components of a literature review. But the PICO criteria and search strategy it produced were not quite usable. They needed quite a lot of fine tuning by a human in order to make them suitable for use. So we didn't find that there were massive benefits from using AI to develop these two particular components of a literature review.
Okay, so obviously this is with ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any other tools or technologies that could be used to help that be better, or sort of blanket no for the time being?
For now, I think it's not really a benefit using AI for these specific components of a literature review, but potentially in future as AI models get better, it could be useful.
Okay, interesting. So how did that translate into the screening and the data extraction step then? Did you find similar things?
Yeah, so with the screening and data extraction, we actually found that AI was a lot more useful. So abstract and full text screening is really resource intense. So it requires 2 human reviewers to screen abstracts and full text. And so by using AI to basically replace one of the human reviewers and screen the abstracts and full text, you could potentially halve the human workload by 50%. So we found that ChatGPT was accurately screening around 80% of abstracts and full text, which is really good because it also did it a lot quicker than a human could do it as well. So although it would require a human to then check its decisions, we found that ChatGPT was actually doing quite a good job at screening abstracts and full text. For data extraction, we found quite similar. So it was accurately extracting around 80% of data points. So again, it was also doing this much quicker than a human could do this task. So we found that it could potentially produce huge time saving benefits for abstract, full text screening and data extraction.
I know that we've also been looking at paid for platforms, not just ChatGPT and free platforms. Some of the limitations that you mentioned have been, we have been able to, I guess, make them less of a limit in these paid for platforms. So the way that these platforms work is sometimes they are separate large language models, or sometimes they are sort of piggybacking on top of an existing one like ChatGPT. But where we found a lot of time savings is automation. So you get things like highlighting your inclusion-exclusion criteria, bringing the more relevant text to the top of your screen, bulk include-exclude, bulk upload. So there's a lot of automated tasks that make those time savings even bigger. And I guess the biggest saving that we found with a platform that you pay for is you could duplicate your reviews. So a lot of the times you might have a systematic review that is very broad, but then you're looking at specific subpopulations, which basically means that you're doing 2 or 3 smaller reviews within the systematic review. But with an AI platform, you can just duplicate them, slightly tweak the pico, and then they run at the same time. So it doesn't matter if you have 1 review or 5 reviews, the time saving is the same. So you can see how that then sort of adds on to all the other time savings that we've seen. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what is then the final verdict on AI in literature reviews?
So I think the final verdict is that AI could potentially replace a human reviewer in systematic literature reviews, but it will always need human oversight and a human to check the AI's decisions to make sure that this is accurate. And I think at the minute, although AI could produce huge time-saving benefits, it's still a way off being able to completely replace humans in systematic literature reviews.